Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Dead, and this is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 9, live fan reactions. We wanted to have it first, started watching this exactly at noon. It is about 52 minutes in length, and I know many of you have seen it, or at least are still watching it. Some have not seen it, so I do have to warn you, this has spoilers. We talked about some of the spoilers, so Spoiling Dead's fan page was right on. A lot of stuff they talked about did happen, but there is some extra stuff, and there's some really, really good dynamics. We are going to react to it, those of you that have seen it, and I'm going to give you my initial, wow. We will do this again next week, so, if you haven't seen it yet, we definitely want to involve everybody else, because I don't want to just be my decision. It is unbelievable. The dynamic is between all the characters. They tell the story, but I will say, of anything, if you ask me, my first reaction is going to be the Negan-Judy dynamic. So, yes, there's a lot of things that happen, so let me just give you my take on it, because I've sort of been half and half for a long time. Am I ready to sort of transition over and give Negan the pass? And I am. I think Steph is going to follow suit very, very soon. We see Negan going up to Judy's room. He puts on one of Rick's shirts. That probably won't be, very friendly to everybody, but he gets this little item that's one of Judith's items, a compass. And even right from the start, he's climbing over the wall, and she comes out, pulls a gun on him, and she's like, "Stop, or I will shoot." But you can see the back and forth. He's like, if you're going to shoot me, little lady, shoot me. He does promise that he won't hurt anybody else. And you get this Western journey. So Angela Kang was perfectly on point with that, of him just kind of going through. He needs to make it back to Sanctuary. I think he's just trying to find his path. And all throughout the episode, you get a little bit of what's going on at Hilltop, a little bit of what's going on with the journey back, and then a little bit of Negan. And I think of all the things here, it is probably Negan's path is like a thread that's interwoven into everything else. Negan fans will love it. People who are on the fence with Negan, I think, will love it. And people that hate Negan will start, and I think Steph said it very well earlier, they will start to hate Lydia more than they hate Negan. Steph's already got a name for her, Lion Lydia. She is despicable. I never want her. I don't care what happens at this point. I never want the group to accept her. She's lying. She's deceitful. She is the new villain on the show. I know Alpha's going to be there, but Lydia is she's already endangering the group by not being straightforward. I don't care if she's scared, whatever happens. She is a blatant liar. One thing that you're going to love is Judith is getting ready to shoot Negan, and she says, rules are rules. I mean, she is just to the point, and then you think he's gone. But let me tell you this, after everything else that happens, he goes to the Sanctuary, some good interactions. He's on a motorcycle riding, and Judy comes out of nowhere and shoots at him, knocks him off the bike, and he turns himself in. He says, he tells her at the end of the show, "You're absolutely right. There's nothing else for me," and he's going to go back with Judith. So full circle, realizes that I told you guys he would miss her. That was pretty obvious, though, wasn't it? He had the compass, and it's almost like Maggie with Glenn's pocket watch. Same type of thing. He goes through a little bit of a journey, gets chased by some dogs, and we go full circle. And I think he realizes he just wants to go back home. He doesn't have anything else. When you guys watch the episode, let me know what you think about the Negan dynamic. So let's get to a couple other things that go down. We did talk about the spoilers. The quest for the group is to bring Jesus back, to get him a proper funeral. It's a really touching scene between Daryl and Michonne. And we get a little bit of that foreshadowing. We're going to find out about the X's, but not right at the start, because Michonne tells Daryl when they're walking back, she says, "It's important we bring Jesus back to bury him." And Daryl says, "I wish we could have done the same." And Michonne said, "I wish we could have too." And she says, "Thank you for everything. Thank you for trying. And thank you for after." So the major stuff happened afterwards. I'm really, really anxious to see what happened with the X's now, because Daryl and Michonne were tortured by someone. And that even followed suit with Aaron as well, because later on Michonne says, there's some dialogue between Michonne and Aaron where Aaron says to Michonne that she's right, that we had everything that we wanted inside the four walls. So more to come on that. it is very, there's a lot of stories being told, but it's only really in 2 locations. So I think you guys will enjoy that. It's not like Oceanside and we're here in Oceanside and Kingdom. It goes from Negan to the Hilltop Journey, back to Negan, back to the Hilltop Journey. It is not choppy. It is very, very well done, in my opinion. There are some other references later on in the episode. The groups are split, so why Yumiko and Magnet, everybody's coming back. There is a search party that gets compiled, and ultimately Alden and Luke get paired together, and at least 5 times in the episode, Luke mentions to Alden about music and about the fair. And Alden's talking about singing at the fair. So not only is the torture going to be a big deal, you can see that the fair mentioned 5 times just in this short period of dialogue. So we know that is going to be a big, big deal. They talk about Luke playing instruments and also singing at the fair. And they find these arrows. So it looks like, Alden and Luke sort of passed along the way. And of course, at the end, we do know that Luke's getting ready to kill one of the walkers. And then they see that it's not a walker. They're completely surrounded. And that's where we get Alpha at the very end. She throws one of Yumiko's arrows at Luke's feet, pulls out the shotgun and points it at Luke and says, "The trail ends here." So, wow. I can. The only other thing I would say that and we'll talk about this throughout the week, is the emphasis on Lydia. Henry is annoying again. Henry falls in love. Daryl is trying to interrogate Lydia, and she lies. But she does say this. This is a very important, everybody. In the interrogation, the second time Daryl interrogates Lydia, she says there were 10 of them. We don't use our names. And Daryl says, "Do you have a camp? Do you have any walls?" Lydia says, "Walls don't work. My mom told me that we needed to change." And Lydia tells Daryl, "We were always going to kill you." Listen to this again. Okay? Remember, that's the part that we talked about all during the week. And I said, I need these people to be evil and no sympathy. And they did exactly that. They made Lydia a liar. They made her deceitful. They showed the evil nature. But when she said, "We were always going to kill you," all bets are off. It wasn't, you stumbled on, you did this, you did that. There is no blame game at this point. Henry and Lydia have an interesting dynamic. Lydia, Henry, part of Daryl's plan is to kind of leave and eavesdrop. So once Daryl leaves, Lydia says, "Thank you." And Henry says, "I had to. Couldn't let him do that to you." Like, well, what's Henry going to do to Daryl to stop him, especially when he's locked up? Says, "I'm Henry, I'm Lydia." So they do get on a first name basis. I will say at this point, Steph, I'm going to throw this out to you. Can we safely say that Lydia is probably at this moment disliked more than anybody we've seen on the show? I would say just her deception, and I put her right up there with Negan at his darkest. I don't know what to tell you, but it was just kind of watching this episode was just eating at me, listening to her and knowing that the whole group is and I know I hated Negan, there's the governor, there's other people I hated, but there's just something about the psychology and her deception, and you know that everybody that dies in the future is going to be because Lydia has kind of misled them, where she could have kind of given them some information and maybe helped them out. She could have said, "Hey, we got this big dude Beta that's out there. It's going to be killing people." Yeah. So Negan is on the up and up, and Lydia is on the way out. The Rosita, Eugene, Sadiq scene, they do get back. Sadiq helps Eugene with his knee, and he's just getting ready to tell Rosita he loves her, and she has to walk out. She goes out and starts getting sick, so she is pregnant. That is confirmed. And Eugene does overhear her saying that. So, once again, no bad vibes toward Rosita. She said, "Hey, when we were having fun before Gabriel, this happened." So Eugene's an interesting situation. One other thing I would like to point out, with the path with Negan, he starts out, he does make it back to Sanctuary, and he does see Big Richie. And at a couple times, he avoids Big Richie, doesn't want to kill him. But then ultimately, I think when he's getting ready to go back, he says, I'm sorry, big guy, it's just not working out. And he does kill, Big Richie's already dead, but he does finish off the walker, Big Richie. But he's trying to avoid killing one of his ex, men. And I think that's important. I think if we didn't know, Julia asked the question, how could she possibly know it's Sadiq's baby? Well, it's possible that there's no physical relationship between her and Father G. That maybe their relationship is just getting to that point. But she knows Sadiq. So she knows what happened with Sadiq, and she probably knows that it hasn't gotten to that level with Father G, would be my guess. Wow, Steph, anything, I'm going to throw it out to people that have watched it. I know a lot of people are tuning in for the spoilers, like, confirm the spoilers. Anyone else, Najee, I think you watched the episode. Real quick, everybody, anybody that physically watched it or is watching it right now, give me a quick 999, because I want to call on you just for a couple, this reaction video is only going to be a few more minutes, but I do want to get more of your thoughts in there, because I've got 7 pages of notes. Wow, I've got a lot of notes. And the main thing that stood out to me was the relationship. So all the people typing 999, one storyline, one reaction. If you had to pick one thing from the episode, what would you pick? Alpha at the end, the hilltop situation. Let me know, everybody that watched it, what your initial thoughts are. I'm going to go on record and saying, to me, it was Negan and Judith. And because I felt that was going to happen, I felt that there was going to be a bond there, and by far, that was the most moving part for me. Pete D, super chatting. What's up, Pete D? Thank you for jumping in here. Pete D says, haven't watched it yet, just want to show some support. I'm going to go watch it now. Enjoy the game tonight. I love the thumbnail, and thank you so much, Pete D. I appreciate that, and looking forward to some of our streams this season. We are kicking off the Walking Dead season today, and we'll definitely enjoy the game tonight. Good seeing you again, my friend. I Like to Fish says Negan and Judy. Julia Muse says Negan and Judy. Daryl shooting the whisper in the knee was Corey's favorite part. Negan starting his transformation is Gene Alexander. Julia loved Negan getting chased by the dogs. Michael says Alpha. So it has to be somewhere between, I think, Lion Lydia and Negan's path, and I think you get a little bit of both. Look, we don't get the death and destruction, but I think we can see both sides of it. We can see how the Whisperers are starting to turn dark and setting up that story, and Negan is starting to turn light and setting up that story that ultimately he's going to be the person that helps and is a big part of the downing the Whisperers. After we got to go through a lot of death and darkness, though, before then. I'm going to ask the best line that I thought of the whole show. You're going to chuckle. You're going to crack up when you hear this. So Negan and Judy are talking after the motorcycle, and she says, I told you there was nothing for you. And he says, you're sure as shit right. And she says, language. I'm a kid, asshole. And then he says, I'm sorry, I cuss around my friends. That exchange is great. The dynamic between the two of them, I literally watched it and just laughed out loud. So I think the writers have done an incredible job of getting Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, of taking the Negan dynamic and making it into something that the crowd is going to rally around. I know it's not a replacement for Rick, but Negan's charisma, Daryl's extended dialogue, Aaron taking a bigger role, I think the three of them are definitely going to help ease the pain of the Rick thing. And then, also on the other side of that, Judith's extended role, Michonne is definitely badass as usual. Michonne has a lot of wisdom. Didn't really, if I had to guess, I would say Rosita seemed to be diminishing her story a little bit. I know it's early, but the way her character played, I almost saw it as if I didn't feel like Rosita would be a big part of the story going forward. And anybody else kind of feel that? I know, look, it's early and she's pregnant and that's the way it has to play out. But I just felt like she might be on the chopping block. There's no Carol. There's no Ezekiel. And I didn't really like Henry either, but I didn't despise him as much as Lydia. So, based on my reaction, the spoiler information, what you hear, the excitement in my voice, I'm going to ask for everybody in here right now before we wind this thing down. The people that watched it from a scale from a 1 to a 10, let me know what you thought about today's episode and how, if you're looking forward to watching it again next week. The people that didn't watch it, that may watch it during the week or just hear our confirmed spoilers and our conversation, our reaction around it, give me a rating on that as well. I'm going to give it a perfect 10. I rarely give The Walking Dead a 10. I rarely give any show a 10. But this is one that I am definitely reserving. And I'm usually about an 8.8, 9.1, 9.2. I thought it was absolutely perfect. Well done. The character interactions are great. And it is set up perfectly for all the darkness and all the stuff. And even Alpha at the end, the trail. The trail ends here. She didn't have the creepiness in her voice saying what she said there. I had to listen to it a couple times to actually understand what she was saying. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of Walking Dead a week early. AMC kind of spoiled it for us, but this is the first reaction video probably on planet Earth. So thank you for watching that, getting involved in it. We will have a 2 o'clock comic premiere over on the 999 Dead channel. Hang out with us. We're not going to be talking about this show. So if you've watched it, you know the spoilers. Just go over there, relax, enjoy the comic, because it's at a different point. I'm also going to tell you, I think you're going to like Negan today in the comic book. I can start to see how the comic is already transitioning and how his charisma on the comic is starting to translate to the charisma on the television show. That'll be at 2 p.m. I'll be watching it with you live on 999 Gaming, so join over on the other channel. All the people watching this, subscribe to 999 Dead, 999 Gaming, and 999 Army, and leave your thoughts and comments below. I will see you all at 2 o'clock, and you guys know the schedule rest of the week. Tomorrow is The Passage, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be talking about this episode a lot during the week. Thanks, everybody. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all at 2 p.m. on 999 Gaming. Peace.